Hello everyone, this is Roslyn Oluwasheki here again, and we are on day 8 of the Wisdom series for the Silver Jubilee that we began. And today we want to look at the need for you in your union to find yourself. The husband needs to find himself, the wife needs to find himself, because in finding yourself, you find your partner. When identity is lost, all is lost. Identity is everything. I've noticed that oftentimes couples are busy chasing after, the other partner in the union. And in doing this, they get lost. Instead of you to first and foremost discover yourself in the marriage, you're busy checking out your partner, you're busy trying to see if they are going to match up the kind of partner that you want, and that creates a lot of trouble in marriage. One of the first things God did after the creation of man and their formation, they were created and they were formed. As soon as they were formed, Adam was formed first from the dust, and then Eve was formed out of Adam's rib. The first thing that happened was everything that God created, even before Eve was formed, he took it to Adam so that Adam can give them identity. And Adam named these things, all the things God created. And that is the name they still answer till date. In the same way, as soon as Eve came out of Adam's rib, even though it was, made to be asleep, what you can call under anesthesia, we realized that as soon as Adam woke up, the first thing he did was to give the woman an identity. Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones." Genesis chapter 2 is where I'm speaking from. And she shall be called woman. And she was named Eve. Now, inside all of that is the fact that she needed her own identity. Each of them were distinct, the scripture says. And it was from there they were naked and they were not ashamed. One of the ways to get rid of shame in your marriage is for the two of you to function within your distinct, unique identity, but as one. One thing that is very important is the fact that the two of you have come together as one does not mean that your own identity is eroded. I've seen women function like this in their marriages. And 15 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, they're full of regret, they're full of anger, they're full of hatred, even for the partner. They are lost, they don't even know what to do with themselves. God allowed Adam to name Eve, and her purpose was also defined. She says she will be called Eve because she's the mother of all living. And so we see that these individuals had purpose and they had identities. It was this identity that allowed them to be able to function in their uniqueness, yet as one. And so, when you are in a marriage union, one of the first things you want to make sure you resolve as early in your union is the issue of identity. Right from the beginning of my marriage, my husband and I knew that, we have to find what is the purpose for which we are coming together and who am I in the marriage. I remember very well that he came to me and he said, "No, the Lord has spoken to me that you are a line that is falling to me in pleasant places." And as I searched the heart of God as well, the Lord said to me, "I have given you beautiful ashes." Now, that is who I am in the marriage. That is who he is in our marriage. And now there was no need for the other one to want to be like the other one. I didn't need to be like him. He didn't need to be like me. We just needed to just function as we have been defined. At times, couples look at their neighbors. They look at somebody else, what they are doing, how they are doing it, and they want to use that as parameters to define themselves. The one who created you, you know by now, since we started this series, is the only one who has the right to give you your purpose in your marriage. Okay? And our functionality proceeded from there. We began to function. I didn't have to look for anything else. I could either receive what God has given to me or reject it. And he also could either receive what God has given to him or reject it. And when we realized this, we just settled down and we began to build. When you find yourself, you will find your partner. And so that is what I meant by that. Many in marriage are busy looking for that which is not lost. And the question is, who are you in your marriage? If you see yourself just as a sex mate, if you see yourself, most men see themselves as the breadwinner. And that word in itself, it's so problematic as a breadwinner. Others see themselves as a father, as a mother, and and so on. This puts you in a boundary where you are not able to function within, the purpose for which God created you. And it will never bring you satisfaction. It will never bring you fulfillment. You see, I've seen women, define themselves, I'm just a mother, and after you raised all your children, they're gone now. You're probably 20-something years in the marriage, going to 30 years in the marriage, you're 35 years in the marriage. It's as if there's nothing else to live for, because you did not make the effort to find yourself and to find who you are in your marriage. You must have a personal identity from God as it relates to your marriage with your spouse. When God changed Abram to Abraham, he did not, ignore Sarah. He did not just assume, because I've changed Abram to Abraham, then Sarah should be okay. God did the same with Sarah. Sarai was also changed to Sarah. That means God is particular about the individual in the relationship. God doesn't mush and mash. We are the ones who get excited when we become a Mrs. We throw our own self away. We throw our identities away. I'm not against, being a Mrs. and being called a Mrs. I've been a Mrs. for 25 years. But the least description, the least, the least title, if there is anything like that anyways, that I define myself with, is a Mrs. I've seen women get married, they forget their own name. Some even get offended when you actually call them by their first name. They're like, I'm Mrs. Jackson or I'm Mrs. John and stuff like that. And John is John, and now you are Mrs. John. What about your name, your true identity, and your real self? That's what I meant, but it's not about the name. It's about your real self. Adam and Eve. There is no Mrs. in the Bible or Mr. and Mrs. in the Bible. It doesn't mean anything is wrong with it. What I'm trying to tell you here right now is that if you lose your identity in your marriage, you will regret it, and most of the time it's always too late for you to fix things. You are distinct, you are unique. That is why your fingerprint is also not the same as your husband's fingerprint. Of course, you are one. You are one if you are born again, both of you, you're one in the spirit, and then you become one in flesh, and your mind begins to function as one as you put yourself together and you live together and you walk together in harmony and in unity. But it is quite important for you to know that if you're going to find joy and fulfillment in your marriage, you have to learn to find yourself. You have to learn to find yourself. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's not good to be a Mrs. or anything, but I'm saying that when you get lost in the marriage, you will lose joy. When you get lost in the marriage, you will lose purpose. When you get lost in the marriage, it will not do you any good. It will not do you any good. Another aspect of this issue of finding yourself, and in order for you to find your partner, the need for you to first focus on yourself in the marriage is the need for you to stop looking and seeking that your partner become who you want them to be. When you find yourself, it will give you an understanding of who you need to be. You also will stop striving to be what you are not. Okay? You will stop striving to be what you are not. As soon as I understood who my husband is in our marriage, I settled down. And it wasn't, it was tough in the beginning because I'm like, okay, but this is the type of man that I want. This man is not the kind of man that I want. But God has defined him for me, and God says, in him, your beauty lies. And it's for me now to say, no, but I don't want this type of a man. He should not be like this. He should be like this. And it spent all my days and years and months to want to fix him and to want to change him. But I focused on myself. I focused on my identity. I focused on who I was, who I am, sorry. I focused on who I am. I focused on my discovery about myself, and I functioned from there, standing alongside him. I functioned from there, being his wife. I functioned from there, being the mother of our children. It just fit. Everything just worked out perfectly. It wasn't like we're two, strangers. It just fit because God does not make mistake. And so, what I want to charge you with is that you need to find yourself. Find yourself in your marriage. Find yourself. It is imperative that each of you in the marriage finds and understands who he or she is in the marriage, so that you can both be naked and not be ashamed, so that you can both not stress out each other, so that you can both not look for what is not lost. What God has given to you is best choice for you. And if you settle down to discover that this is who you are in the marriage, it will not, drive you into, into other kinds of findings. I've realized that when people don't find themselves in the marriage, they begin to go with what other people say. They begin to go with what the media is saying. They begin to go with what the society is saying. This is what a wife should look like. This is what a husband should look like. And in doing that, both of you will get lost. I'm praying that this truth, when it comes to, if you receive it into your heart, it will help you, because it has played a great role in my usefulness to my husband in our journey together. I didn't need anyone to tell me, you have to be like this or do like this. I just lived out, and I continue to live out my purpose and identity. And like I said, it fits perfectly and it works out perfectly. So the same is with my husband. He didn't need to become somebody else for me before I could, enjoy, myself with him. He was allowed to be in his own skin and just be himself. It was tough, like I said, but I allowed him to be himself. He allowed me to be myself. And we realized that God did not make a mistake. I'm so grateful to God that as soon as I settled down with his ordination for my life, everything fell into place with hard work, a lot of hard work, a lot of dying to self and all of that. But as we go on in the series, we'll talk about that. So today my charge for you is to find yourself. In finding yourself, you will find your partner, and it will surely be a perfect fit. Don't look around. Don't look for what is not lost. Don't look here and there. Just settle down and ask the Lord, if you haven't yet, who am I to my husband? Who am I in this marriage? Discuss it together. Sit down together and say, this is what the Lord is saying to me. Let the man tell the woman, this is who I am in the marriage. I'm not talking about definitions of bread and butter. I'm the breadwinner. You are the basket carrier. No. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about eternal purposes and eternal value. Eve was named, and her name corresponded with the purpose for which she was created. She will be called the mother of all living. I look forward to seeing you again in the next series. I think we're going to be looking at something so powerful. It's going to bless you. Be blessed, and I'll see you very soon again. Thank you.